host. And today I want to talk to you about sales avoidance. Now, if you've paid attention to our podcast before, you know that this podcast is designed to help Christian coaches and entrepreneurs optimize their business models, pricing, and sales strategies so that they can scale their income and scale their impact. I remember being a brand new coach, and I remember being scared and wondering if I was good enough and wondering if I could make it. And God really blessed my business. I collected over $250,000 in revenue my first year in business, and God has continued to faithfully provide since then. And I know that He's the source. I also know, though, that I knew how to do a few things that many Christian entrepreneurs struggle with, including how to sell, how to price my offers. I had a great mindset around sales. I know that sales, when done right, feels good. Sales, when done right, is simply making it easy for the right people to say yes. Sales, when done right, feels like a coaching with an invitation at the end of it. And sales, when done right, can even feel like love. It can feel like a great expression of building a relationship and coaching and providing for the other person. And so that is why I do what I do. And that's why we brought this podcast to you. And today I want to talk about one of the most important topics. I mentioned it before, sales avoidance. And in fact, I want to talk about avoiding sales avoidance. What I know to be true for most coaches and entrepreneurs is that they will do anything other than the one thing that makes them income in their business, which means sales. For so many of the coaches that I meet with and talk to, they have been coaches running their business for years, but they've struggled to financially create something that's viable. And the biggest reason why is because of sales avoidance. It's because they're focusing their attention on the wrong things. See, our brains want to be successful. Our minds want to find a way to be successful. And many of us, rightfully so, have begun to define success as progress. Progress rather than perfection equals success, and recognizing that we're on a journey, right? And so if we can just move a little bit forward, a little bit forward, a little bit forward again and again and again, that over time is going to equal success. And in fact, there's really a process of compounding interest that takes place. If we repeat the same positive patterns and behaviors again and again and again over time, we're going to have a compounding of interest that's going to create the potential for significant success later on. And now here's the problem. That's all really good. But the problem is so many of us have gotten to a place where we've defined success as progress, and we've allowed ourselves to make progress in all the wrong areas at the expense of our actual success in our business. And so that can be confusing. That can be challenging. Here's what I mean by this. We've taken things that are good, like running a podcast, like marketing ourselves on social media, like updating our website and making sure that it aligns with our brand, and writing a book and building a YouTube channel, and a number of different things like that. Learning, reading the next book, watching the next course. We've allowed ourselves to take these things that are good and get too much of them to create this false sense of security and success that's not really happening in our business. All of those things I mentioned a moment ago are good things, but if they are the only things, they're not good. If they're the only things that you're doing in your business, they're actually the reason why you're failing, the reason why you're not achieving your goals. If you're out of balance and spending too much time on the wrong activities, it can actually be a form of sales avoidance that's costing you the opportunity to fulfill your dream and serve your clients through a thriving and successful coaching business or business in general. This is so important. I talk about it as the short game and the long game. The short game is asking yourself the question, what can I do today to create the opportunity for sales this month? That's the short game. How can I create more opportunities to get in front of my ideal clients and make sales this month? If the work that you're doing today isn't likely to lead to sales this month, it's not in what I would call the short game. The short game is how can I provide and continue to grow my business and buy my way to the long game. The long game is what can I do this quarter, this year, this decade that's going to make sales really easy later on. That's going to make it so people will eventually come and buy from me. That's going to build my personal brand. That's going to create more passive income years and decades from now. One of my favorite mentors, Dan Miller, had a podcast that he released every single week for like 20 years, an email newsletter he released every single week for 20 years. That kind of consistency creates compound interest over time, and it's worth so much. So much business, so many sales, so many clients came to him from that podcast. And that's the positive effect of something like a podcast or a YouTube channel. However, for a new coach, a new entrepreneur, we shouldn't expect that our podcast efforts or our YouTube channel are going to return financial results early on when we don't have very much of a following, when we're still building our brand, when we're still establishing ourselves in the marketplace. Same thing's true with our website. A great website is going to yield excellent results for somebody who has a tremendous amount of visitors to their website. But for the new coach who's not likely to be found by people they don't know, your website doesn't matter that much. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a good one. It doesn't mean that you can't have a website. It just means if you're spending too much time on your website at the expense of lining up real conversations with real people and inviting them to buy, you're just costing yourself the opportunity to continue to grow your business and have the level of success that you're actually seeking. So, long game activities, podcasts, writing the book, social media presence, YouTube channel, etc., etc., etc. There's so many things that we can do that are expressions of playing the long game, things that are going to make us sales next year, next month, next decade. And while those things are good, and I think even a new coach should choose one or two of those things that are fun, whether you like to write or you like to speak or you like to be on video, having one or two long game strategies that you're employing with the right amount of attention and time, really good. And we must be taking the real action to lead to sales and business this week, this month. The things that are going to help us bring in more income and revenue, therefore more profitability, more capacity to continue to invest in our business and our teams, and to grow our client base so that we can give the gift that God's given us. We can fulfill the calling that's on our hearts. And the only way we get the opportunity to do that is by making sales. And I know a lot of Christian leaders, a lot of Christian coaches struggle with this because sales feels big and scary. And the truth is, sales when done right doesn't have to feel like that. It can feel really fun. But it doesn't get to be fun when we avoid it, when we're scared of it, when we talk ourselves out of it and into everything else we could do to distract ourselves from the one activity that actually fills our bank account and our capacity to continue to run our business and serve at a high level, which is prospect to invite real people to real conversations and then ask them to buy. Now, there's a little bit more involved in the sales process than that, but the simplification of it is true. We need to create real opportunities to invite our ideal prospects to buy. And this is your wake-up call. If you've been in sales avoidance, we've all been there. This is your wake-up call and reminder to stop that. Stop that. Let's start to move forward with the assertive sales efforts, the loving, assertive sales efforts that are going to lead to your goals being accomplished and you helping your clients achieve theirs. It's about proper prioritization. And right now, if you're a new coach, if you're under $100,000 in annual revenue, you absolutely should be prioritizing the short game first. And the long game is a secondary priority that you can build now. And as your business grows and evolves and matures, you might spend more and more time on the long game. But for now, let's do the real work that's going to lead to real clients and real impact. And that's getting on a call and inviting people to buy. That's what we call sales. God bless you all. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you're curious to learn more about sales, go to goodsalespdf.com, where we'll give you our 10-step sales process and show you exactly how we convert high-ticket clients in a high-integrity way. I'll see you all next week. Cheers.